Alright, the air system I built for myself is based on this iron horse I got at a local farm supply. It was on like $400 or something. Runs 11.2 CFM at 90 is what it's rated at. What it actually runs, I have no idea. I've got a little whip running from the regulator there to where my black 1/2-inch pipe plumbing starts, and then I've got a quick connector on there, you can see right here. From there it goes down to an elbow, which goes to a T that goes to 2 ball valves. The bottom one's to drain the water out, and the top one is what I use to actually turn air on and off to the entire system. I just leave the ball valve on the regulator on all the time. There's the paint can I used to help get this thing into play. From the ball valve there, that top one's, like I said, that's how I turn the system on and off. And we go up to the corner of my ceiling. That's a 10-foot run, and then I've got an elbow here. We go down to an elbow here to a T, and this was one of the mistakes I made. I meant to go up first and then go down. I forgot about that at the time, but went down. This is just a no idea, holds shovels and rakes and stuff, and we just snapped it in there. It holds it actually very securely. Then we go down to, got 2 ball valves again. Top one's to turn air on and off to this manifold, and the bottom one's to let the water out. On the manifold, I just did a short, it's about, I think, a 4-inch or 2-inch run in there, depending on if you count the threads or not, to a T, to 2 elbows, to another T, and then the top one is what I use on most of my tools, is the Type A from Milton, quick coupler deal. And then the bottom is the Type M, which is what most people will use. That way, if I've got somebody else brings their tool over, I've got hoses set up with Type A and Type M couplers. I can plug into either one and have effective air. The one you see capped there in the back, that's just a temporary fix for future expansion, essentially. What I'd like to do is, this wall goes to the exterior in front of my garage door, and from there I'd like to hack through there and have a hose laying on the outside, and that way, you know, middle of the night or something, me or anybody that I know that needs to use air could just come in and plug right in there and use it as necessary. That might or might not ever happen, but when I put the system in, I decided to go ahead and plan for that. So we'll go back up and pick up where we left off. So we got that T that I messed up that just goes straight down, which I guess I could have done worse, but could be better. And then over here we've got another mess up. This one's a little different. I got my piping right, went up this time before it came down, but I failed to measure properly, and my reel will not fit anywhere in here without that door not being able to open. Since I'd like to use my cabinets, I can't put the reel up over here. I have thought about putting it on the actual ceiling there, but those are the boards that are my roof, and drilling into those just didn't seem like a good idea. So I've put that on hold for now. I've got another idea in the works on that. So for now I just put a ball valve. If I ever need it, great. If not, well, it's there anyway. So then we go across the garage door, and I just used some of those metal hooks to hold it on. On the other side where we started, I had some other stuff holding it up, and I'll show you that here later. We went over here to a T. I've got a T plumbed in. It's almost right in the middle of my garage. These beams right here to your left are the middle of the garage. That's for future expansion if I want to run a deal straight across to pretty much just provide more air in the system itself. But I don't plan on using it, but I figured having a T in there wouldn't hurt anything. Sorry, it's tripping over my stuff here. We go back over here. I had to put a joint in there, just female, and then it slopes down a little more from there. I kind of, where I put the holders, it's just hanging just a little lower than that. And then we go over here to the main workbench drop. And here, because of the way the ceiling is and the way that my table is, my pipe was a bit too long, so I just put some extra fittings in, and it goes up, as you can see, and then down, and then when it comes down it goes to my workbench, which this is the reason we had to build it up a little higher. Is, as you can see, the workbench and the bottom of the drop aren't a big gap in between them. But same system. This brings our air in. Side to side is on and off, and then here we can drain our water out. I've then got a filter on this piece. The filter was originally going to be put on the air reel. Like I said, that's going to be a deal for later. Then I've got just a single type A quick coupler to one of these little springy hoses, and right now I just got my air blower on it. These two fittings here we did have at the top of the deal. They were up where you can see that there's the two 45s there, and both of these are broken right here in the crease. When you put it under pressure, not this side, but it's on the inside right here, we had bubbles coming out of both of these. So just poor quality casting there, I'd assume. Alright, so we go back up, got another elbow, and then we've got a 10-foot run. And here I'll show you the what I'm using to hold these up. It's a little fastener with a rubber grommet inside, or a rubber protector deal. So then we go down, and this isn't, I'm not completely finished with mounting. Got another one here, and a bungee cord just was holding it up. I forgot to take the bungee cord off. We got another coupler, so that's a 10-foot run there to I think that's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet there. And I've got a T that's plugged up. That's going to be for future expansion if I ever need it. And then the end is plugged off. That's also for future expansion in case I want to run stuff to my other workbench over here. So if I ever need a drop for that, I've got the expansion ready. This drop turned out okay. I have see the zoom in here. I have a couple of elbows off of that T, and then it goes down. And this, I need to finish mounting this. I just need to put a piece of wood back here to pull that out. But the same system I've been using. I needed some more valves, so I couldn't get the red ones anymore, so I ended up with 2 yellows here. But top one leak air on and off to this manifold, and then the bottom one's to drop any water. And then on the manifold here, like I say, same thing as the other side. I've got type A on the top and type M on the bottom. Just used I think that's a foot run there, and a T and a couple elbows, and then some brass pieces to get to where the coupler's connected. And then what I've been using for these things, here's your regular type M, and then here's your type A. And you see the difference there. I've got parts for type M, type A's, and then that filter I used was a Puma 1/4 inch. Everything I've got running, I'm just 1/4 inch with 1/2 inch black pipe. This is to the ball valve on my compressor. I just leave it in here, like I said, I just leave that on. These are the mounts I was using. They're not perfect, but they work pretty good. Like I said, it's got the rubber here so it doesn't slip, and then you just press it together and screw it in or bolt it in. These kind of pieces, and I like these kind here. You can see they still got tape on them, but you know, it gives you an actual nut shape on there to tighten it down a little easier. For this whole project, I just used tape. I didn't get too fancy with putty or anything like that, mostly because I've never used it and I had tape on hand when we started. As far as improvements, I'm pretty happy with this drop here, and we'll go back through the line. I'm pretty happy with this drop here, how it turned out. This hose is pretty awesome for using stuff on my bench. It's kind of a mess right now. Everything's a mess right now. Here's my bag of parts. I've got, this was an experiment. This was where we were going to start to the air reel. I had another valve on there, and then this bag is full of various pieces. There's my makeshift welding table for now. Not ideal, but works pretty good. And so we'll go back and I'll show you where else I messed up and what else I was going to put in at some point. So we got our T there that I meant to go up. That's probably never going to be changed. That's just the way that's going to be. And then we come down. And then here at the beginning, instead of this elbow down here at the bottom on the right, I needed to have put a T in here. And the T was going to go to the right over to this side of the air compressor. And my basement starts right where you can see that, is it fiberboard or whatever that stuff is. And so I was going to go over a couple feet and run a line into my basement, which is unfinished. That way when we went to finish the basement, I could just put a regulator in and then plug in a, anything I need, nailer or whatever. So that's the system I've got. That might get changed when I decide to change the basement, but we'll just see what happens. It's probably a lot easier just to run a couple hoses down into the basement from here at this point. The way we did it is the piece that goes straight up, and then with the 10-foot piece that goes down, we did that to the T. The T was actually put on the floor. We did all that, just laid it on the floor of the garage. And then when we set it up, we used that paint can, which has been there for a little while now, to help hold it up, and then we tacked it up there. And as you can see, we've got these fasteners like I showed you there, and then one at the top, and then there's a couple more throughout the system. I had this hose made, the whip, and it seems to be a good length. And then I've got a coupler on the end so I can take it off. And there my power source, I ran that directly to the box when I moved in. This compressor has been pretty good. I don't have a lot of air tools, so I don't have a lot of big machines or anything. Don't have a sander or anything like that. But the one weak point of this compressor, and it's something that looking back would probably have stopped me from buying it. For my needs this is fine, but for future needs it's going to be a problem, is right here. You can see that's a 1/4 inch male to male right there that goes into the bottom of the regulator assembly and the control box and everything. So even if I were to expand all my other couplers to something, say going the 3/8 or even just the Milton V style for the high flow, I'm really not getting anything out of that, because I'm right out of the tank, I'm already cut down to a 1/4 inch. So that's something on this compressor that, and actually all compressors, probably should check on to see if you do have big air needs. Make sure you have big holes. So as far as how much air this system holds, we're at about 127 on that gauge, and I'll show you how much it holds. We'll just turn it onto the system. We went from 127 to about 122, depending on the angle you look at the gauge. And then we'll shut this back down and I'll show you the amount of air that comes out of here. We'll just do it on this one. I held that about halfway. It's kind of hard to show you how much air is in there, but it's a fair amount of air. Like I said, it takes a couple seconds to fill the system, and it takes a little while to empty it unless you just open that ball valve all the way, and even if you do that, it still takes a moment. Total foot, I've got probably 55 feet, maybe 55, 60 feet by the time you add all the little bits in there. I've got 5 10-inch runs, or 10-foot runs, I'm sorry, and you know, there's a 2.5 or 3-foot run, and you know, as we go across, these are 4 and 5. That's a 4-foot drop there, and then we go to this side, and that's another 4-foot drop, and then when we go across, I think this is a 5-foot drop here. And we got another foot there, another foot there, so it's actually probably 65, 70 feet. I don't know, I'll do the math one of these times and put it on there if somebody wants to know. As far as leaks, use the Dawn in the spray bottle, and cannot find any, but we do lose some air pressure. When it's full at 130, which is what the regulator stops at, we go from 130 to 125 in about an hour. But from 125 down, I haven't noticed it going very fast. I've checked within a couple hours, and it's only down a couple psi. So I don't know what the deal is there. I'm sure it's an easy fix. Somebody that's smarter than me can figure it out. I'm not really too worried about it. I don't usually leave air in the line all the time. When I have that outside hose, I will, at least to that point. I might shut down the rest of them, but it hasn't been bad enough for me. I'll probably just leave it. I have thought about putting some sealant or something on the outside of all the joints, but you know, I'm not too worried about it. And any questions or anything, just put it in the thread. I'll try to put this on the forum and see what anybody thinks, or if they have any comments or what have you. So have a good day.